Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Spencer.
And I'm Dan.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. And today we're going to do a preview for kCaloria. Now, in this game, we are building an ecosystem. And so this is going to be a little unique to some of the other games you might see, because what's going to happen is in these boxes that they sent us here, we have an ecosystem, 60 tiles and some cubes and some dice all in here. This is what one player needs to play the game. So to play two players, each or more, each player is going to need their own set of tiles. And these tiles are essentially going to make up your deck. Then what you're going to do is you're going to have a hand of 7 tiles. Now, we just organized these, so I'll just grab some out of here that I know I need. You have a mixture of different things, but you always must start with a water tile. That has to be the first one you play, because all ecosystems, at least on Earth, need water to feed into them. So if I place this water tile, then I'm going to get to put some of these water cubes on it, because it generates 3 water. Then Dan would go, he would play an alligator first. Wait a minute, that's not right.
I was just getting the distant right. There we go.
So then, Dan would go, now he's got his water, his bayou there. They do have different icons, so if I played an LO tile next to this flowing river, which is like Lodic water. Yep. Maybe I'm saying that wrong, maybe it's Lodic, I don't know. But anyways,
Tomato.
And that's Lentic, I know that one. LE. But if I play another tile with that LO next to it, it's going to produce extra, because this flowing river does better with those, right? So if I had enough to pay, like this has a LE and an LO, so the alligator would get a bonus from either
Any of the water tiles.
And if it was next to both of them, it would get both bonuses.
all the bonuses. Yeah, so you're going to be so you're creating this ecosystem, and to do that, let's see, just do this right here. So I've got these trees right here. So if I play this, it's going to cost me 2 of the blue off of here, but it's going to generate 3 there. Now this, as you can see, has an FF +1. So that would, floodplain forest. So any other FF tiles that get played around this are going to get a bonus. It's not always going to work out that well, but for right now, that's what we've got. Then Dan would play a tile. Now let's just...
insect down the yellows.
What now?
Insects.
I could do that, or I could do this. So like, now here, on my next turn, I could play this
Ribbit.
frog, because I'm not going to say the Latin name.
That's ribbiting.
Pass.
But it would cost 1 blue, so I pay for it here, and then 2 green, or I could have used a yellow if there was one nearby. The yellow generally are insects, and so on and so forth. So we're going to be playing tiles. We're going to take turns. Eventually, our ecosystems could intersect. Oh no, kudzu! Well, it's
I did it the wrong way.
You did.
It's not that, it's this. Ha ha!
No, I did it.
I jumped into his ecosystem with my special trap card. Take that.
And so now what he has effectively done there is he is using my resources to pay for his tile, and because you can only build adjacent to your tiles, well, now he's got a tile over in my ecosystem, so he can start playing his tiles adjacent to mine and pulling my resources off. And we're going to go back and forth doing this. There are ways to get rid of invasive species in here. There are microbes, like cards that can potentially kill parts of the food chain, which then, if you don't have a way to continue to sustain those tiles, those tiles are going to fall off, wrecking your ecosystem. And then, we go back and forth until somebody has gone through either all 60 of their tiles, or they have played their second human, which triggers the end game. We were playing to finish the round, and then any of your unused kCaloria cubes on your tiles are points. At the end of the game, most points wins. That is the very brief summation. They do have a how to play video on their website. And I believe you can play it on TTS as well.
Nice.
So, but yes, that is kCaloria. The interesting thing that this game will also do is it's going to provide other biomes, right? Other areas where you can play, right? So this is just the East Texas Piney Woods. But I mean, really, you could take different sections of Earth, United States, different countries, and really like drill into their ecosystem and pull out like, okay, like I'm using this ecosystem, and you can kind of just see
like
how this,
animals and insects that are native.
correct.
They're probably going to have their own special flavor.
Yeah, I would hope so. I would think so. This lends itself to that really well.
Yes, it does.
Let's go around, I guess, and sort of give our general impressions of this. Bobby, do you want to start?
Sure. I think it's pretty interesting. It's fun. It's kind of like a puzzle that you're trying to like piece together and make sure you have the right resources around things. So you can like put things down in the middle and gather all the resources you need off them. I found that super interesting and satisfying. I will say, being colorblind, I know it's prototype, so take this with a grain of salt. But I did have a little bit of issues with some of the colors and whatnot on there. Maybe if they changed, instead of just doing all color dots, do like the purples are triangles, the yellows are squares. And
Right.
Oh, good.
Just kind of like put a little shape to that color, and then that way it would help to, simplify that a little bit for those of us that have a hard time with the colors. But other than that, though, they like the LE, the LO, the FFs, and those kind of iconography is really good. That helps you to get your bonuses and stuff on there. We had another question with like the nocturnal thing, and we kind of played that a little bit wrong the first time. But after reassessing the rules, we were able to figure it out. The right way.
I think some of it is just there are some ambiguous bits in the iconography where
like so
But
like
it
the
can be
lizards
tightened
get
up.
this, and it's got a reptile is a lizard on one thing, and it's a gecko on another thing.
Yeah, it's a prototype, so the
Right.
icons may change, and also you have to be very careful reading them because you might think it does something, and it actually does something different.
Right.
So, yeah, make sure
Any
you read all
game
those.
that is that iconography heavy is just going to take a couple readings of the rule book. It's just always the case. Spencer, not to mention another game, but one of your favorite games was Race to the Galaxy. You're not going to know that
Yeah,
game
it's a
the
lot of
first
icons.
time you play
Right.
it.
Yep.
That's just how iconography games work.
Yep.
But I would rather have an iconography game that I have to learn than a bunch of reading or no icons that I just have to remember. Right.
Right.
So it's
For
clearly the right choice.
Right. Yeah, but no, I thought it was interesting how you start like 4 tiles away from each other, and then that's where you're kind of building your ecosystem, but then you get that invading species, and now I'm in your world, and I'm like, adding stuff on there, or you can start building your ecosystem out so that they actually meet, and then you can start to try to envelop their ecosystem with yours. And that would also be helpful to like maybe have like a piece of paper
map?
or something like that. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be a full board or anything, but maybe like a piece of paper or a map that's got like the 2 tile spots, 4
Just
spaces
the
spot.
closest
And
ones.
So,
Some of
so
the-
then those you have it marked down. So start on, then you could build out from there, and that way, 'cause sometimes they do kind of shift a little bit.
Oh,
and
sure.
You end up not being quite.
they
like
moved
that.
on the table a little
Yeah.
bit as you
But like I
As
said, like, the puzzle you're
tiles I
doing
want to do.
is super interesting. Like I really did enjoy the, you're trying to start with the water, and the water feeds the plants, and the plants feed the bugs, and the bugs feed these other types of animals, and the humans want a mixture of those. So you can't just like build it on the line. You got to kind of like build it around so that you can start to take resources from each of the tiles around you, and that's a neat brain puzzle to try to figure out.
agreed. Daniel.
Me, if you didn't remember from the intro, that's me.
Yeah, that's him.
Well, you said Dan.
Oh, crap. It's like you don't
Yeah.
even know me. I tend to really like spatial games, and this is a really good one. This is not... So if you like tile laying spatial games, if you like that kind of thing, I think this is going to be right up your alley, with the caveat that this one is going to be crunchier than a lot of the other ones you might have out there. This is a crunchy tactical game. Like, you are thinking about every single tile that's out there. Where's the best place that I can put it? Even when you're limited to your legal moves, there's a lot of different options that go on, and every move needs to set up your next move, or it feels useless. Especially if you're trying to get those humans out, you're trying to get those big gators out, these ones that have a big cost but give you a lot of cubes that make other things cheaper. And what I mean by that is, like, a human might need 4 yellow cubes but only 2 red cubes. So if you can get your red guys out and kind of get them in a nice little area, you can get your humans out faster and stuff, which then feed other expensive tiles. So the placement of your tiles is going to be super important in a game where there are just tiles everywhere. It's also very important, obviously we'll see how they change things, but it's very important that because the tiles are exactly the same, to make sure that when you're placing tiles out in other places, zones, just have them face you. So you can look over, and anyone where the words are at the top are your tiles, where the words are at the bottom, they're their tiles. Because you can only place tiles touching your own tiles. And they're going to be all over the place. And obviously for scoring, that's going to matter as well. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on here, but I think the decisions are really, really interesting. We'll see what they do, how they change certain things. Currently in the game, there are 4 humans, I think, in each stack, which feels a little low since it's an endgame trigger, but also not awful because they do tend to be dead cards in your hand when you have them. They're very hard to get out. So you don't want like 10 humans in here. Your whole hand's going to wind up being humans. You're not going to be able to do anything except maybe discard them. Then you're discarding endgame goals. So I'm not saying 4 is low.
I've only seen the alligators actually be able to use those human cubes.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
far, right?
Too. Well,
because they eat people.
Yeah, they eat people.
Problematic.
Yeah, and that's a huge buff I got to give this game, man. Like what Bob was saying earlier, the theme here is so well done, but it's like really subtle too. Like I'm just kind of laying it down. I'm just like, yeah, so I gotta give up 1 blue and get 2 green. It's like, yeah, but Bob, the water grows the plants feed the insects. Like it's really well done.
The kudzu invades.
Yeah.
As things do.
And so overall, I'm really impressed with this. And I think if you like crunchy, strategic, tile-laying spatial games, whew, I think this is a good one. I really enjoyed playing this.
Yeah. Spencer, what'd you think?
I really like the crunchiness of this game. There's a lot of decisions that you have to be really careful about making. For instance, I don't have to use cubes from my own tiles to pay for my things as long as I have something near him. So if I can have something close enough and he accidentally sets up for me to put an alligator or human down, I can steal those away. Or if I see he's going to put one down, I can put one nearby and steal those resources so he doesn't have enough. And that might actually prevent me from doing something I wanted to do over here. I also, it gets a little bit pedantic when you have a whole bunch of +1s and you're trying to figure out, okay, this one goes here and here and here, and then this one does it. And so you're like doing little mental arithmetic, making sure you got it all right. But in the end, once you do it, and especially if you do it just one at a time, I actually kind of like that. Yeah, there are so many different options and combinations. Even the invading. I mean, you only have 2 or 3 of the kudzus. And so I had used 2 of them like right away. And then he invaded my area from in front.
Yeah.
And so they were both absolutely great strategies.
I tried to invade you from the back, but you killed it like literally like right away. So I was like, well, that's not going to work then. So
That's true, that's
build
true.
out towards you then.
But it still was pulling away water resources,
True.
you know, while
Yeah.
you're playing those tiles.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're still like,
Eating up cubes.
yeah, and which is taking away points.
Yep.
Yeah, I had a great time with it. I'd love to see what else they come up with. But you just gotta be careful of the iconography and all those little +1s and things.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how they get more biomes mixed in, like
Oh,
one
yeah.
that's like mostly glacier and stuff. How's that going to drastically
sure.
change stuff? Is there going to be
Can
like
you mix and match?
Can you mix
I
and
would
match and
assume
stuff?
you
Yeah,
could,
I would.
but yeah.
I would assume. The only thing that confuses
deck
me
building.
slightly is that we're playing with the exact same tiles here. That's the point.
Right.
So how does the balance work? If they mix it, we'll see what they do with that in the future. One thing that, again, just balance-wise, I was very impressed with was so the easiest way to get your humans out, right, is to kind of make a circle like this, get everything you need, and then drop your human right in the middle. That's clearly the easiest way to do it. It might be the only way to do it, but I'm not gonna not gonna sell my soul on that sentence. But one thing that happened is you'll see on the human, so that they need 1 water, 2 plant, and then 1 of these options.
Protein source.
4 yellow, 3 orange, or 2 red, like
Which
one
breaks
of those.
down to either insects, humans, or alligators.
So you'll notice that the easiest one to get is the insects. They're cheap to get out. They pile up pretty fast if you get the bonuses, so you need the most of it, right? But one thing that's really interesting balance-wise in this game that I ran into, and I don't even know if Tim knew that he did it at the time, was I was going to end the game like 3 rounds or 4 rounds before it actually ended because I had my perfect setup here and I had the human in my hand. But I surrounded it with insects because that's the cheapest thing to get. And Tim on his turn planted a parasite
Right in
right
the middle.
there that started eating all my insects. And I needed to get rid of that fast because it was destroying my entire human engine. And I think that's a really interesting way to get this subtle kind of deep balance in there to where the easiest way to get your humans out instantly is also the easiest way to get the parasite out
thwarted.
instantly.
Yeah.
And I literally seen that happen in action. I was like, that was sick. And I don't even know again if Tim knew
I was
that
just
I was
more
about
like,
to end
I'm
it.
going to kill some of these insects.
Exactly. But like he did that and I was like, dang, that was a real good move.
Yeah,
On purpose.
I also like the humans. They give you 4 of these purple cubes, but if you do the cheapest option with insects, it's going to cost you 7 cubes, and cubes are points.
Right.
So you're actually losing points in order to try to end the game. So there came a point where I was like, I'm not even going to try to play my humans because it's going to cost me more points than they're worth.
Yeah, at the time of getting out, you need to, if you're going to do the insect route with the humans, you need to get the like FF engine going around it, so that
Right.
you're
Or
making
you're
up those
building
cubes.
more.
Or you need to use your opponent's pieces
Right,
to do
of
it.
course.
Or
Or
you
using your
or you place
opponents.
them next to some what is it, the bonuses, because they can get the bonus
Yeah,
too.
they get the bonus
Right.
as well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
FF, yeah.
So yeah, there's just a lot of really interesting stuff going on here for sure.
Yeah, this game like purports it puts itself out there as like something nice and pretty light, you know, and easy
It
to
could be light.
learn. But you know,
Not for
like
us.
everybody has just said at this table, like there's so much deep strategy in here, and I really find it so fascinating. I love the idea that this is feeding this. You know what I mean? Like I need these tiles adjacent because they're feeding them, and so that if one gets eliminated, well, now it's lost that food source. So thematically, this tile is in danger, right? Because now it can't. So you basically have a round. You know, depending on how far away it is, but let's just say for this example, you have a round to get something over there that can get that, keep that food source alive, you know, keep that animal alive. So it's really interesting. Lots of fun decisions. There are times, right? I mean, you're going to be limited sometimes by your hand. Sometimes you're going to have great hands. Sometimes you're going to have blah hands. If you do not have a legal move, you can discard 3 tiles, and then you draw up to 3 tiles, and you can draw back up to a full hand. That will let you cycle through, hopefully get some good stuff. The only negative is those tiles you discard, they're gone. They're gone from the game. And and that's another way you can kind of rush endgame if you're never going to get those humans out. You're plopping down your tiles. You're trying to, you can, if you don't have moves, you can discard. I guess you can't rush endgame because you still have to make legal moves if you can.
Right.
But
play really
That's
poorly,
actually
so you can't make any
something. That's actually something I personally really like in games is when they make you make suboptimal decisions rather than take like an easy out kind of thing.
Right.
Like when it says you can only discard your hand if you can't make a legal move. Otherwise, make the legal move even if it slightly hurts you. I tend to like that because it makes you have to play your strategy on the fly of like, okay,
Yeah.
well, man, what's the worst pot or like the least bad thing that I can do
Right.
right now that again still sets me up for something next turn, because every single tile placement in this game needs to be setting something up or you have wasted your time, and I find that forced move an interesting addition to that.
I have to counter. I don't like that because
you
still
can't not
have-
make optimal moves. Your
No,
brain will break.
I still then have 6 things in my hand that are useless, and the next one might also be useless, and I might end up having a bunch of turns in a row where I am only helping my opponent.
Spoiler alert, Spencer still won.
I did still win.
And he complained about
asterisk.
that.
That's just something I really like.
I didn't say I wasn't going to win or wasn't ahead. Actually, I had no idea. Who was
No, but
ahead.
you were complaining about how bad your hands
My
were.
hand was terrible. I had
A lot. But
I
not
had-
so bad that you lost the game.
I had
So
five-
look at the person you were insulting as you're like, I was
Yeah, but
I was
Bob-
forced to play so
Yeah, but Bob's just
optimally.
famously terrible at board games. So,
I think we have a new soundbite.
so what did you think about the game, Bob? What did you think about me, Bob?
No comment.
But no, I guess I agree with Dan. I think, sometimes it's like, look, I just got to do this. Hopefully I draw something better, because it's not like it's not doing you anything.
It's just not a great move.
It's just not
Sure,
always
I'm not
the
saying it's
best move.
objectively great either. It's something I tend
No.
to really like
No,
in these kind of games.
I think I think that I don't want games to be solved. So this
yeah.
forces games to not be solvable, because you have to just sometimes make a move. There's not always like this is always the play.
Tim, 1 plus those 2 is going to get you 4.
You're right.
How did he do that?
Well,
Anyways.
if you had to play the one and then at the end of your turn you could discard as many as you want, that might be a way to counter that. a little
Oh,
bit.
sure. I've seen games do that
It
too.
still forces you to do something you don't want to do.
Sure,
but
or
not
maybe
for 7 turns in a row.
At the end of your turn, you can discard 1 or 2 tiles.
But that
and
is
then
letting
build up.
someone cycle through their stack,
Which
Right,
can
the
kill
game
them faster.
or they end the game before your big engine fires off.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to have a limit to it. You wouldn't be able to just
Oh,
do all
now
6
there
every
needs to be a
time.
limit.
Now there's
Now that
limits.
That's what I'm
my
saying,
engine
like,
can be killed.
you
Play
can
your
discard
tile, at
one.
the end of turn, you may discard 1 extra tile, draw back up to 7.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think that's
Just
that's
to
pretty
cycle
good.
your hand
It's
a
a
little
good
quicker.
house rule or something.
Hey, designers. It's up
We're
to you. It's up
spitballing
to you.
here.
It's up to you.
But I think I agree with everybody here. This is a really fun game. This is really interesting. Lots of neat choices. This kind of initially reminded me a little bit of Suburbia, which I really liked. But Suburbia doesn't feed.
Haven't played.
Doesn't have the eco.
Not feeding people to alligators, man.
Well, yeah, no, but like they just nail
Gotta
the
have your park,
ecosystem.
and then
Right.
you start with the roads, and then you're going
Right.
to add
Not,
sewer
you've
system.
not played Suburbia either.
No, I haven't.
You have not at all. Not at all. Just Bob's
So
really good
stupid.
at Bob's really good at
That's
guessing
when
how
we do
board
like the
games work.
commercial ones and the residential ones, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But and the things trigger, and you get bonuses based on how things trigger. Whatever.
I
But
like
this
that game.
just really does create the feel of an ecosystem, and it's really interesting, and it all makes sense. Again, prototype. I look forward to seeing the iconography tightened up and a little more consistent.
For sure.
Because there was like some insect symbols that don't match.
Yeah, make
just-
sure icons match.
Yeah,
Just
they
little
definitely
things
do.
like that will make the game so much more intuitive because
Right.
this is an easy game to teach and to learn, but when the icons don't match up, you have to then go no, like this is the same thing. Like just tell yourself, remember these are actually the same thing even though the pictures are different.
Yep.
But
I also just love, by the way, because I literally didn't know this until Tim said it, that the LE and the FF stand for actually thematic things.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I literally thought they were just like a code that they were using in like this
Just put
version of the
LE
game.
randomly on
Yeah,
here.
I
and
didn't,
then-
I didn't know.
Oh.
I don't study nature.
you're a
But when Tim said that, I was like, dude, another point for the game. That's awesome.
yeah, no, it's really neat because they've got and they've got this whole like scale that
Sciencey breakdown.
yeah, it's really freaking
Yeah,
cool.
I didn't see the one icon here says Old East Texas Piney Woods on the
Right.
card.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
That's the company that made it.
No,
No,
that's what I
that is
thought.
not the
It's-
company
it's
that
not
made
the
it.
company.
That
It's
is
a
the biome that we were playing in.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So
it's
yeah,
kinda
it
nice.
will make it easy to do different types of biomes then.
Yes.
I see. I thought maybe that was the company that made the tiles.
No. No.
Wow.
Very
Potential.
convenient name.
TD. Oh, temperate judicious forest is what TD is.
Gotcha.
There's
For what
just
I was
so
calling
much
the-
potential for this game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the sky's the limit with this stuff.
So,
Oh, because
Got it.
space.
well, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Birds.
But yeah, I think we all recommend this. Anybody have any final thoughts? Anything else we want to add, argue about?
I thought the packaging looked like cookies.
You're just hungry.
Well, yeah. That's what happens when you film before breakfast.
I think everything looks like cookies.
Actually, you see those.
No, I
Yeah.
think
It's a wafer
I
thing.
think I
Wafer thing.
very easily talked everyone else into loving this game.
I think you did. Nailed it.
That's what I did. Nailed
Nailed it.
We'll just say that and move on.
No, great game. Really enjoyed this. They did send us these two things of tiles here for us to play and try out. And yeah, I mean, we had a really good time. So please be sure to check it out. If any of this thing sounds interesting, comment on the video. If you've got questions, reach out to them. They have a website that's really good. You can, well, we had a QR code that'll take us there.
I was gonna say,
that
there you
statement,
go.
That statement just equated to if you have questions, don't ask us.
Don't ask us.
So they got a website.
But yeah, I would, yeah, reach out. We'll help you if we can. Otherwise, we can point you in the right direction.
This is true.
Anything else, guys?
I think that's it.
I think I got one thing.
Uh-oh,
I'm going to do a little
uh-oh.
more self-promotion.
Brace yourself.
I wrote a book. It's called A Sinister Love. It comes out hopefully on April 8th. I'm doing a Kickstarter. So watch out for it. Go buy it.
Spencer's book is feeding into the ecosystem of the show.
He's going to take two of those trees and then
Yeah.
he's going to add an orange cube. I don't know.
No, he's going to add that one that's bad for humans.
Oh,
That's all I can think of.
that's it.
Okay, guys. This has been awesome. Thank you so much. Hopefully, this sounded interesting to you. Please check out kCaloria. And for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
Bob.
Spencer.
Daniel.
Woo! We'll see you next time.